be talking about simple tools for professionalism and driving sales. And this is going to be some high-level information about simple tools that some of you may already have. And if you don't have them, you definitely need to have them. But if you already have them, you can brush up on them. And John has been talking to me about LinkedIn. I don't know if he's going to talk about it today, but that's another tool that you want to add to your arsenal for sure. But as mentioned, I am with John Dayani. He is the owner of Dayani Ventures. So let me stop doing all the talking. And John, if you want to tell us a little bit about yourself and Dayani Ventures, and then we'll hop into the presentation.
Right on. Thank you. I am glad to be here. Been hanging out with Jaron and love everything about Corner to Corner. Basically, I'm a startup junkie. I grew up with my parents were entrepreneurs, the hustling. We never really ate dinner at home. And if we did, it was sort of like a business meeting for them. I'm telling you, my mom couldn't cook. Bless her, she'd tell you the same thing. And so I was glad I used to cook hot dogs and shove pretzels in them. And that was like a treat for me. Anyway, so, but I have, I don't know, for the almost the entirety of my career, worked with startups and have seen, had highs and lows, and I have scars and calluses. And so I've got a real passion to help people with their businesses. What we're doing today is there's a lot of things that I've learned on how to up your game without breaking the bank. So I'm just going to share some things. At the end, I'll have my LinkedIn profile. I'm a huge LinkedIn fan because for free, it is the best thing to put your brand, which is your face, out there in front of folks. We can talk about that later and hopefully can do this again. But if you connect with me at the end at LinkedIn, I'm glad to help you however I can. So with that, Jaron, do you have any questions?
I don't have any questions, but I do want to let everybody know if you do have questions or comment, pop it in the chat, and I'll make sure that John receives those questions and answers them at his convenience. But if you are ready to get started, pop it in the chat. I am ready to get started. Let me know, and we will get to going. We do have a few people online, so I'm excited. Thank y'all for joining us today. And I know John has some great information for us. Got a few people rolling in. All right.
Millions of people are rolling in. Hey, watch out. We're going to break the internet.
We might just do it. We might do that today. But John, if you're ready, we'll go ahead and get started. All right. You can start presenting, and I'll let you take over, and I'll stop you when some questions pop in the chat here.
Okay, terrific. All right. So like I said, startup junkie, and I want to help you grow using technology to your advantage without breaking the bank. So I have some slides because it kind of helps me stay focused, and I want to be mindful of the time. So look, perception is everything. All right, and looking professional doesn't have to be expensive. Evidently, I can read. So and I worked at a place where I had a guy, and he called me into his office. And he said, John, and he started calling me out on things, and it was just purely perception, right? It didn't mean he didn't like me. It didn't mean I wasn't doing a great job. He just kind of called me out, and I was 24, 25 at the time. And so I've just been carrying that around for, I won't tell you how many years, but it's more than 20. So here we've got the identity challenge, right? And I know when you're starting something, you might go, hey, listen, I'm gonna go get a Gmail account, and it's gonna be my business at Gmail. You may not have a website. You're giving everybody your personal cell phone to get a hold of you and text you with regards to your business, right? And maybe you're just cash only, and that's fine. But there are opportunities to change that perception, right? And so we're going to go, if you look at that dude on the street, with all of his instruments, we're going to go from that, right, to looking good, right? That's the opportunity. Let's get your name at yourbusiness.com. Okay. Let's up your email, because when people look at your email, they're fine, right? It might be my business name at Gmail, but when you have something that says, hey, this is who I am, and I've got a URL, a website or a web address with my email, all of a sudden you're up in the game. I'm shaking the table. I'm watching the camera go up and down, right? So the opportunity is to to let your email represent more professionalism, right? And maybe have a website, right? To have a phone number that's more for your business, right? Versus, just going to your personal cell phone or having to buy another cell phone. So you're carrying 2 cell phones. Okay. There's some really neat tricks that we can use to help you avoid that, but look more professional, right? And then
Hey,
maybe
John,
yeah, go ahead.
that's I guess that's a tactic in credibility, right? When you're
Yeah,
dealing with maybe high dollar clients, depending on what lane you're in as far as your business is concerned, just having that website, I guess maybe a phone that's not necessarily connected to your personal line, and then, some opportunities as far as how they capture sales or whatnot. I think it's a level of credibility that comes with that.
that's right. Well said, Jaron. And if you're only doing cash, listen, we're kind of living in a day. I hate cash, and that's a whole nother story. But I'd rather pay with cards. So it is a function of perception and credibility, and it just depends on your business and what your ticket item and how large that is. Okay, so what we're going to cover is web address, email, and more functionality that's more business related, phone number, and then actually creating a website. So let's start with this. I got to make it to where I can see this a little bit bigger. So how do we do this, right? How do we go from mybusiness@gmail to your name at yourbusiness.com, right? Well, you need a URL. That I don't know what that stands for. I'm sure it stands for something. We can look it up on Google. But in order to do that, you need to buy a URL, and it gets tricky. So when I've started different businesses and helping some right now, you've got to find a URL that fits. .com, .co. There's a lot of different options. I'm a huge fan of network solutions to find it, right? And that might be anywhere from 25 to 50 bucks a year, depending on where you go or how you secure that URL. But it gets kind of fun, right? So what I do is I'll be like, if I want to be like Jaron's Clothing, I'll look and see if jaronsclothing.com is available. And if it isn't, then I'll go to one of these sites, see if I can buy it. Boom, go from there. Okay.
And John, you hitting the
Yeah.
nail right on the head, because we're actually doing an e-commerce class right now. So if some of our e-commerce students are on this live, y'all are actually working on that right now. Just getting your URL so that you can create a website, and again, give your customers and clients another platform to reach you and get in touch with you to purchase your services or your products. So yeah, John, right on time.
But you listen, if you're really into it, you'll come across a lot. And so I have this thing I use. It's called Evernote. I use the free version because I'm cheap, and I'll create a note that just starts going down all the URLs, different .coms and whatnot, because I don't want, because you get a couple weeks into it and you'll go back and look at things, and if you don't write it down and go, this isn't available, then you can get lost. All right, I'm gonna keep going because of time. So here's a little pro tip, right? You got to get creative to find what works, whether it's .com, .co. You might spell something more, like I had Joy Drive, was an endeavor we had, but it wasn't DRIV, it was just DRIVE. It was just DRIV because I could get that .com. It gets crazy. You got a lot of options. You've got .com is better than .net, but there's a whole lot of things. And my stance on a website is it's a billboard for you. Okay, it doesn't mean your business is or isn't doing well. It's just an opportunity for you to put that perception out there and credibility. Okay, so let's see, pro tip, there you go. So once you have that URL, then I'm a huge Google fan. Okay, once you have that URL, how am I going to get that email address? Well, sometimes the services like GoDaddy and whatnot, they'll facilitate that. But for like 12 bucks a month, you can have Jaron at mybusiness.com, right? Email. Okay. But Google does a whole lot more, right? If I want to do accounting at mybusiness.com, I can create what's called an alias through Google Workspace. If I want to have info at mybusiness.com, you can do all these what are called aliases and have like it's like you got a bunch of different departments, even though all those emails are going to go to you. It just provides that perception like, hey, wow, this guy's got his name, he's got accounting, like, hey, email my accounting at mybusiness.com if you got finance questions. So it all depends on your business and what your needs are. But Google Workspace for just $12 per individual that's going to use it per month, that's nothing. And it's going to give you a whole lot more right now on this. And then I'll work with Jaron to put this in PDF format to make this available to y'all if you want it. But there's a video right there, link that shows you how to, sign up for Google Workspace. We'll go from there. Now, here's some really cool stuff. All right.
And John, I was gonna add in, I like the thought of having, maybe a couple different email opportunities because, the info part at mybusiness.com or, Jaron at mybusiness.com, it does kind of give, like you said, the perception of, oh, this part, or customer service at mybusiness.com.
That's right.
It just kind of gives the perception that, man, they have their ducks in a row and have multiple departments that can help me when it comes to my needs pertaining to your product or service. And I know within certain websites, whether it be Wix or Shopify, they do have opportunities as well to create multiple different email aliases. But yeah, go ahead, John, you got it.
Perfect. And then one of the reasons I like Workspace when you're just paying that $12 a month, right, is that you not only get email, you get calendar. Like I'm doing this presentation through Google Slides. I've created websites and then put Google Forms on there. And so there's a whole, obviously Meet instead of Zoom. There's a ton of stuff that you can do. Drive. So like Google Drive is like, it's a whole cloud drive for you to save all your files to, right? And that's just $12 a month for you to have that. So I don't get paid by Google. They're probably, tracking everything and they're the great evil. When it comes to business, I love what they got. Okay. Now let's talk about a phone number and not getting a separate cell phone. Okay. Voice.google.com. Google has this service called Google Voice. All right. And and if you just sign up through like your regular Gmail, or if you have like mybusiness@gmail.com, all you have to do is sign into that account, go to voice.google.com, and you can go in and get a free phone number. Okay. Now, and I love it. Like my phone number is 615-6699555. I chose it like 15 years ago. All right. And if you call me on that, I can have it forward to my cell phone. If you text me, I've got an app on my iPad. I got an app on my Android phone. I can answer that text message from my computer, right? And so that's the number I publish for all things business. Okay. My other phone number ends in 7181, and that's my direct cell, right? And that's what I do for family and friends and whatnot. If I get to know you, I'll be glad to give you that number. But you can get a hold of me at the 615-6699555. Here's the other thing. If I've got a hater that's got that phone number, all I have to do is click block. And when they call me, it'll say this number is no longer in service. So
hey, John,
it is awesome.
So kind of just before you get going, I want to just recap on 3 pieces of credibility that you have already given us. So a website, a lot of y'all have a website, or you might not. Get a website. Clients, they might not be on social media, but they'll be happy to go to your website. An email address. For instance, you probably don't want to have hotboysummer@gmail.com. Your customers are going to be like, what's going on? So get a professional email address. And then, if you don't want people or your clients to necessarily have your personal phone number for whatever reason, use the Google Voice option. It works. Some of our alumni, I call them, and they have Google Voice numbers and they pick up every time. So it is a viable option. So John, yeah, some great pieces of information,
free
tools. Yeah, and it's free. It's free.
Like if you use a regular Gmail account or create one that's kind of like the side hustle account, Gmail account, you just go there and they'll give you a phone number for free. Like you can't beat it, and you can send it to your phone, and you can use it, and you just download the app. You can call from it, so you don't have to get a separate phone. You can do all of it by using their app on your iPhone or your Android phone, you can call out using that same business number. It just helps credibility, right? I love it. All right, pro tip. You can select an easy number. You can get the app for your phone or your tablet, or you can use the service using a web browser on a computer. And you can text, call, all that with the Google Voice app. And that's, again, that's what I publish. So you can block callers or haters, right? So
We,
there you go.
hey, it's a lot of haters. So yeah, it's a lot of spam calls right now too. But anyway, we do want to block callers and haters. John, tell me your phone number again. I love that number. I think I'm gonna try to get something similar to that.
Good luck. It's 615-669-9555. That's 615-669-9555.
Yeah, you got to eat.
And I just chose it, but that's because back then I could, right now you might have to choose a number if you're doing Middle Tennessee. That's like a 423 or something else. It doesn't matter. Like, we're not picking up the payphone, putting in quarters to where, the area code matters anymore. It's kind of crazy. So for those of you who know, all right. Now, website. And it can get real intimidating, right? Like, oh, how do I design a website? Look, I'm a Google fan. I'm a huge Wix fan, okay? Because they have the ability they've got this AI, what is it? Artificial intelligence, right? And you can kind of give it you can tell them what you're doing, and it'll spit out a website for free. If you happen to have a logo, you can give them the logo, and it'll kind of look at the colors and create a template for you, right? And I believe that is free. You don't have to pay until you want to actually put it out there, right? And some people will use the free version of the website and put that as their website, which is kind of, that's fine. It doesn't matter. But you can go to Wix. They've got a wizard that'll help you create a website, right? And then you can kind of play with it and do with it what you want along the way. And they've got all these really great templates. You can kind of see some of the things. I took a screenshot and put it up here. It's a bit more challenging, but you can keep it real simple. So I've got tons of examples and how to do that. I'm sure if you get on, if I don't know something, I just Google it. So it's like it's the best cheat sheet in the whole world. I'm sure you can get on to Google and ask, how to create a Wix website for my catering business or my clothing business or whatever you got. There's probably somebody out there that has put some time and effort into somewhere between a 3 and 15-minute video to just kind of walk you through that process. I'm glad to help as well. Yeah, I love Wix. There's other options. I'm just telling you. Now, if you're doing e-commerce, what was the site you mentioned, Jaron?
Oh, well, yeah, just to, I guess, chime in, like John said, he's not paid by Google or Wix. He's just, basically saying you need some type of website, and his preferred website platform is Wix. In our e-commerce class right now, they're learning how to build out through Shopify.
Yep.
But I know in that class, Jessica has Wix. I think Mia has like Squarespace. Some other individuals already have Shopify. So make sure you do have a website platform. If you're not building it right now, make sure it's on your agenda or your to-dos to get a website platform. And they're all pretty easy at this point to build. So many tutorials, so many videos. These sites literally have 1, 2, 3 steps on how to build them. And if you're in our e-commerce class, Charles is walking you straight through everything on how to build a website.
It's awesome. Well, and if you're selling stuff online, there's one thing, but like if you have a service where people can book you and you want them to pay up front, there's a whole lot of cool stuff that you can do with these websites that kind of fit different categories. Listen, at the end of the day, if your website can help you get paid faster, that's a good deal. So with that, man, it's old school right here, Rocky. Running up. You got this. So I appreciate everybody's time. Hopefully you got a good nap in these past 20 minutes. There's my email and my phone number. And if you're a hater, I'll just block you. So it's all good. And then there's my LinkedIn profile. Now I could go on about LinkedIn. It's a great way to promote your brand, which is you. So if you're not on there, get on there and connect with me. If you need help, I'd love to help you however I can. It's what I do.
Yeah, John. So I definitely appreciate you giving us this insight. I do want to just double check to make sure we don't have any questions in the chat. Um, so a few individuals mentioned they're probably leaving their website platform to join a different one. But hey, just make sure you have a website platform for sure.
Well, and listen, there's some people with, like, when it's just an individual business, they might use Instagram. I mean, I just saw some article in the paper. I read the paper, talking about like some of these TikTok influencers are making more money than, probably God, who doesn't need it, but you know what I'm saying. So there's got to be a way to find you and get a hold of it. There's a whole nother, like, we could talk about LinkedIn, we could talk about Google Maps, and Google Business, because what you want to do is when people are searching for what you have to offer, you want to make it easy for them to find you, right? So I had a Wix website, I had it tied to Google Business and all this stuff, and I had people calling me from coast to coast, and I'm like, sorry, we're not, we're only in Nashville. So, and it was just me. Like, I just figured it out. Now I do love technology, but there's all these things are out there. You can just figure it out. It just takes a little bit of effort, and it doesn't cost.
Yeah, I think what we'll do is we'll do like a driving sales and simple tools for professionalism 2.0. We'll do something like that, kind of a follow up. But I mean, literally, guys, it takes what, I don't know, John, 2 minutes to set up a Google Voice number.
Yep.
Once you get a website, probably takes 2 to 3 minutes to set up an email that says, info at my business, or customer service at my business, or whatever, or Jaron at my business, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
And then setting up a website, no, you can't do it in 10 minutes, but you can probably get something rolling within a day, 2 days.
Easy. No, you can get something rolling within an hour. And
there you go.
If you get half a day, if you got some time, you can just you can put it out there and just work on it.
Yeah.
It all depends on what your site's doing and what it's for. So, are there any questions that you can put in the chat? If you have questions, we're glad to answer. We've got, like, I guess 7 minutes. Is that right?
We got some great feedback. I don't see any questions just yet. A lot of individuals use the Google Voice platform.
Good.
I know some of them specifically do have websites. And Shayna says she really likes the Google Voice tip, because yeah, that's the platform we definitely have to use here corner to corner. I do, before we hop off, John, give me a couple minutes. I want to make sure no questions pop in, but I will say the master class with Shayna and Jasmine starts at 3 p.m. and there's another one at 7 p.m. Our academy students, you don't necessarily need to be on because you've already got this information, but email me if you don't have the link for that. I'll get it from Shayna or Jazz, and we'll make sure you're on that master class that starts at 3 p.m. Let me see. Oh, got a question here. So John, it says, what is the best way to push this info out once it is set up using social like LinkedIn?
Well, okay, like once you, so I'm assuming, what's the best way to push this information out? So a couple things, right? You definitely want to use your social networks to get it out there, right? And just put your URL out there. You got to be creative. So I don't know the answers. I just like to watch, right? So so first of all, if you're going after professionals, LinkedIn's your network, and you need to start connecting with people, right? So if you ever meet with people, you know, good to meet you. Let's connect on LinkedIn, reach out and connect. I've got 1,600 people I've got on my LinkedIn network. And so, I mean, I can search a company name and find out how to get a hold of the person I need to get a hold of, right? If you're more of a consumer-based offering, you know, you've got your social media, your Facebook and your Twitter and what have you. Now, here's the beautiful thing. With, like, say, for example, Wix, part of that wizard is they're going to go through and also walk you through the process to make sure that your SEO, your search engine optimization, is high, so that when people are searching for what you have to offer, you show up, right? And it's pretty awesome. So again, there are tools out there, depends on which way you're going in order to put it out there. What I would say is, my hat's off to y'all for doing a business, starting a business. Listen, ideas are a dime a dozen. It's those people who actually go out and execute. That's the hard part, right? And so when you're building a business, again, I grew up, my parents, we talked about the whole hot dog and pretzels and dinner. My dad would say, if you're going to start a business, what you want is you want people lined up out the door before you ever turn the sign, right, and hit open. Okay. So when you are building these things, you need to be hustling, getting people excited and looking for what it is you have to offer. You need to write that stuff down. If you have Google, you can get a spreadsheet or a piece of paper or whatever. There's a whole customer relationship management stuff. That's a whole nother one where there's a real some inexpensive options to keep track of all that, right? So you just got to put the hustle in, write it down, so that when you, for example, like you could use a Google form, right? So people go, oh, I'm really excited about what you're doing. Let me know when it's there. Well, here, I'm going to send you this Google form link, put your info down, and when it's ready to go, I'll let you know. So and they have tools that say, hey, name, first, last, cell, and email, and any notes. You can create your own Google form, just send a link. So there's a lot of different ways to get it out there. That's the hard part. But as you're building, you need to, while you're building and working on it, you need to get people excited, ready to go. I hope that helps.
Yeah, the Google form also lets you, once you get that information, put it in a spreadsheet. So that's awesome. And looks like we have two more questions, John.
Right.
I'll ask this one, but Mia, can you expound on your question so I know exactly what you mean? But the first question is, should you get multiple websites and link them together? What's your opinion on that?
Well, if you have multiple businesses, sure. And I think from an SEO, search engine optimization standpoint, if you're linking to other things, great. I know, I think I got a lot of credit with this last website because I put my Instagram feed in there. So when you're getting a name, like we talked about how hard it is to get a .com or whatever you get, you've also got to consider, what's available on Twitter and Instagram, and maybe TikTok. I'm not a TikToker. I'm too old. My kids could tell me about it. But, when you've got your name on Twitter, you want to make sure it kind of matches up with whatever your business name is as well, right? And you got to reinforce the message. A lot of people will have an Instagram or Twitter and they're putting stuff out there that has nothing to do with their business. So, you got to stay focused. But ask the question one more time, Jaron.
Yeah, well, I think you answered it well. Should you get multiple websites and link them together?
Yeah, you only need one website for one service offering, but you do want to link in all these other social things into it. Again, Wix has this ability to go, oh, I'm going to drop my Instagram feed. So you go to the homepage, and also you're seeing it's pulling up all these pictures, reinforce that. You got YouTube stuff going on too. I mean, there's a lot of great stuff you can do to tie in and just make it easy for yourself.
Yeah. Yeah, I think you said one thing that was important. When people have a website, but then they have a social platform that they say is for their business, but it has nothing to do with their business. That's kind of like the me having a business about ice cream. Maybe it should be info@icecream.com as opposed to hotboysummer@gmail.com. It just doesn't line up properly. But let me get this other question here for you. So Mia asks, are there any gray areas to stay away from that could cause issues with your reputation?
Oh man, well, you know what? It's funny. So for protecting your reputation, I've had people get on Google Maps and kind of dog my business. It had nothing to do with like we had a driver and this dude had a crush on her and she dumped him, and then he got on my Google Maps deal and started dogging the business, and he had no idea what he was talking about. So the way I addressed that was I appreciated his comments and said I would love to meet with him more, and I wanted to share with him more since he's never really dealt with us before. So I try to address it without trying to get in a fight. So when you do put yourself out there, you got to understand people they could say whatever, and you can kind of argue it. I try to get Google to pull this thing off and what have you. That's okay. Don't. This is what a counselor said. It takes two to do a tug of war, right? So if someone puts the rope out there and they're pulling and you pull back, all of a sudden you're in a tug of war. And what we know with a tug of war, you may get nowhere, right? So don't pick up the rope. Someone wants to do a tug of war, don't pick up the rope. Just move on. You do you. And then you just ask your folks, if you give them something, the ability to give you 5 stars or give some feedback, to kind of reinforce reality, right? So I hope that helps. I think it's a great point, though, when you're putting yourself out there, you got your reputation, but how you execute is going to make all the difference.
Very, very cool. Well, John, I think that wraps up questions, but man, this has been exciting for me. Gave me some insight on some things that I need to look at as far as my business is concerned with building credibility. So I hope that everyone else got something out of this as well. Like I said, I know I did. And thank everybody for hopping on and joining our Lunch and Learn today. John, I think he has left his information. And John, is your LinkedIn just, John Dayani?
Everything I am is John Dayani. Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, Instagram. It's not my son and it's not my dad. So there you go. Yes, reach out, connect. If I can help, be great. I'm a startup junkie, and I'm excited for what Corner to Corner is doing. I'm excited that you've taken the time to let me bore you to death, because it means that you're putting in the effort in order to get better and grow your business, and that's all you can do. Wake up and do what's in front of you and give it your very best. So my hat's off to all of you.
All right, very cool. Well, John, like I said, we appreciate you. Thank you for the encouragement. Thank you for the information. Some simple tools for professionalism and driving sales, and I believe it allowed everybody to at least build a little bit more credibility. So thanks everybody for hopping on. Thank you, John, and everybody. We will see y'all next time, and I will see y'all soon. Remember, masterclass at 3 and 1 at 7.
Let's go 3 and 7 masterclass. Be a master.
Got it. All right, take it easy. Let me end this. Sorry, guys.
By the designated
Give me 1 second, John. I hope I ended this properly.
It's showing you're still live on Facebook. This is so exciting to be live on Facebook.
Yeah.
Coming at you via satellite. I was like, what's a satellite? I'm fixing to help you here.
Let me end it. I'll end it on my phone here. Let me figure this out.
Oh, it says tap finish when you want to end your broadcast.
I'm looking for the finish here.
While we're still live, listen, if you need some great clothing and you want to up your game on how you look, you just call Jaron. You can find him on the internet. You can find him here live on Facebook.
Exactly.
You want to look good, give him a call. You don't leave the house.
And we are wrapping this live up. Sorry, everybody. I'm trying to end it. John, I don't think it's showing me and you, though.
Well, I took my video down, though they can probably hear us. Do are you on your browser? Do a search and
Yeah,
look for finish.
oh, there we go. There we go. It's ended now, but I'm gonna have to figure that out.
There you go. That's